Yo, what's going on everyone out there? It's Brian and Jim from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. Today we're taking a look at Virtual Bart for the Super NES and the Sega Genesis.
One thing Brian forgot to mention is that this was actually planned for a Virtual Boy release too. But it was the Virtual Boy, so there's that.
Get it? Virtual Boy, Virtual Bart? Get it? You don't get it.
I hate to admit that it actually makes sense. Anyway, the game was released in 1994 for the two consoles it came out on. Once again, just like in Bart's Nightmare, this was developed by Sculptured Software and published by Acclaim. So, this one, just like Bart's Nightmare, is another collection of minigames loosely based around a pretty weak plot.
So checking out these graphics, you're gonna notice there are 6 or 7 different stages. I don't know, I've been drinking too much, my counting's a little off. And you know what, they're all completely different. There's a good variety of colors. And here's a quick side-by-side comparing the Super NES and the Sega Genesis. Either way, we didn't mind them too much. I personally preferred the Super NES a little more. They have some pretty decent sprites, I'll give them that. And the Road Rash-ish level here, it scrolls pretty decently, so I can't hate on that too much. Here's our breakdown. And like I said, you can see I scored the Super NES a little higher. I'm only going to add 1 beer to the beer requirement meter. These graphics really aren't too terrible to look at.
Alright, the sound. So there's actually a difference, kind of, between the Genesis and the Super NES. Mainly, the Super NES sounds a little more dynamic, it sounds a little better. The music in general, though, is very forgettable. It's not bad, it's just not good, it's bland. It gets the job done, but you're not going to be, like, talking about it, because that's why no one does 20 years later. The sound effects, they get the job done. Again, the Super NES is a little better than that department, and it's got some decent voiceover work in the game as well. Overall, I mean, on the Genesis, it's about as mediocre as can be. The Super NES, it's a little better. We preferred the Super NES, so we gave it 6s. It's not bad, it's above average. And as far as beer goes, you don't really need too many beers to enjoy this. We'll add another one just so it can enhance what you got.
Well, we have another Simpsons game control to look at, and guess what? It's a tiny bit better than some of the previous ones. But overall, as you're about to see, it's still pretty mediocre. Now, each level controls a little differently. Like the pig level is more of a platformer, and that one's, it's okay. It's nothing great. The water slide and tomato level, they're fine just because there's so little amount you actually have to control, but they're really kind of hard to judge, if that makes any sense. And then comes the biggest pain in the ass. The fucking dinosaur level. Ah! Yeah, it is god-awful. You slip on every fucking platform. Your jumps... I've never seen a game where you over-jump things so much. Typically, we bitch about things that you can't jump. This one, you're going to over-jump your platforms all the fucking time. Here's our breakdown, you see. I gave it a 4, Jim gave it a 5. I played the dinosaur levels a little more, and that's why it got the 4 from me. I'm going to add 3 beers. I was originally going to add only 2, but fuck that dinosaur level. Fuck it to hell.
Alright, the gameplay. You know what? Take everything about Bart's Nightmare and make it slightly better in some ways and slightly worse in some ways. It's almost the same damn game, just the minigames are different. At its core, once again, for probably the 20th time, this is a platformer for about half the minigames. And the platforming is terrible. The other games, once again, they try to do something different. The tomato game, once you get the hang of it, can be kind of fun, but you're not going to get the hang of it for a while. The Road Rash level's okay. It tried, but again, it failed. It gives you a lot of options, but none of them are good. So, we gave it 4s. And you know what? I'm going to add 2 beers. One for them trying, but the other one is just for that goddamn dinosaur level.
As far as originality goes, yeah, it's like Bart's Nightmare. You basically have these random assortment of minigames, which, once again, not many games in the past really did that often. Not saying it's done well, just saying not many games did this. And there's a little bit more variety than Bart's Nightmare. So I upped my score a little bit. I mean, how many times are you going to see Bart running around as a pig, or you're going to get a cheap Road Rash imitation? Here's our breakdowns. As you can see, it's 5s across the board. I'm going to add 1 beer just for lack of trying from Acclaim at this point.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the level select screen. This is how you select the levels. Remember in Bart's Nightmare when we were pissed off because you would jump on a piece of paper and it'll be the same mini games you've already played? Imagine that with slightly more control, but giving you just enough to frustrate you because you can never land on the fucking game you want to play! I can't tell you how many times we played the dinosaur level, or how many times we hit the pigs. Hell, we even hit the tomato game a little bit. But I'll tell you what we barely hit. We barely got the baby game. We almost never got the road rash game. I'm not saying it's fixed, I'm just saying the wheel was a terrible idea. Remember in Mega Man where you could pick the boss you wanted to go against? Remember how well that worked? We gave this 3s, it's the bare minimum we could fairly give it, and I'm going to give it another 2 beers just for that damn wheel. That goddamn wheel!
Overall, what's left to say? This is just another basic-ass game just like Bart's Nightmare. Sure, we might enjoy the control and this and that a little more than Bart's Nightmare, but really, it's still just an average-ass title. It's really a shame. If you were a fan of The Simpsons in the early 90s and you didn't get to the arcade, you didn't have many options at this point. You're at the end of the 16-bit era with these games. You've played through all the NES, and majority of all this stuff is shit. Fuck this game. We gave it 5s across the board. I'm adding 2 more beers, 1 for just another lazy-ass game, and another one for that goddamn dinosaur.
Alright, beer pairings. This is another wasted opportunity. It's just a bunch of mediocre to really bad minigames. So, the way this was a disappointment, we're gonna have to pair with another disappointing beer. This time we're gonna pick Blue Moon Gingerbread Spice. It says gingerbread, does some things right, but where it counts the most, you know, flavor, aroma, it falls in its face. Just like this one does with the control and the fun factor.
Hey guys, once again, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed the video, or just give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click on one of our other game reviews in the links below, and come back tomorrow because we got another game for you. Cheers, guys.